Hello everybody, I am Tom and you are watching me play The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. In today's episode, I'm back at Kira's boat, because there's some dialogue from memory that you get. There's also a lot of drowners. I don't know why there's so many drowners, but there's a lot. Well, there's no longer all these drowners, so let's get to Kira's boat. I believe she talks to us through the little Xenobox thing she gave us while we're on our way down to the Isle, so I'm going to actually take her boat rather than going there myself, which was my original plan. But we're heading to an isle that is apparently cursed, and Kira wants us to lift the curse because, well, the reason that she claims she wants us to lift the curse is she thinks the peasantry will kick her out if she doesn't. And potentially she just wants to keep the peasantry happy, therefore they won't rat her out to the witch hunters. She seemed condescending and perhaps not being entirely truthful when she told us that, but nevertheless. I may actually speed this...
Geralt, can you hear me?
There we go.
How goes it? Where are you?
Almost there.
Splendid. I shall contact you again soon.
Wait, this Xenovox. Can I contact you with it, or is it one way?
One way only, I'm afraid. You'll have to trust my feminine intuition.
Your what?
My feminine intuition!
Wonderful.
Well, I mean, at least they're both condescending each other at pretty much the same rate. So the way this Xenovox works is apparently she can call us, but we can't call her. Which is, I mean, somewhat annoying, I suppose. That's quite a few drowners. Well, are they drowners or are they rot fiends? They may actually be rot fiends. I'm gonna park my boat over here a bit.
Geralt? Are you on the Isle yet? Does the Xenovox work? Can you hear me?
What? I can't hear. Ready. Outlive this magic.
What did you say? There's some interference. You must be very careful.
Rot fiends are relatively easy to kill because they kill themselves. The downside being, of course, if you get caught in that explosion, you're likely going to die. But apparently there's some interference, for whatever reason. They're drowners out there, by the look of it. There also seems to be like a... I don't know how you'd describe it. It's like a graveyard, almost? Not a graveyard, what would you call it? Like a... I mean, graveyard is kind of a good term. I don't think... Nah. It's like a tomb. There's a drowner somewhere out there. I'm not that worried about it, though. It's a tomb. It's not necessarily multiple graveyards, but... There's a lot of necrophages here. It does beg the question how they got here. Particularly the ghouls. The drowners could swim. The rot fiends and the ghouls... I mean, I guess they can swim. It's not like it's a huge island. Maybe they could swim that distance, I guess, but... Some more rot fiends over here. It makes sense as necromancers, I mean... there's going to be a lot of necrophages just because there's a lot of corpses. So when there's a lot of corpses, there are going to be things that eat corpses. More dead rot fiends. Does make me wonder if there's rot fiends here. Hey, Ghost. Just checking for ghosts. Ooh. Oh, I thought that was a chest. Bees. Oh, more ghouls. In the water is odd. No, he's not. He's like on the ground, I guess. Is that the ghoul? I think that's the ghoul coming through the wall. More ghouls. Nope, there's a dead body. No ghost, however. Doesn't seem to be a whole... Oh, over here.
Let's try Kira's lamp.
They're onto us! They're not letting Graham in!
Quiet, fool. Babylon and the noble himself will hear you.
Nah, he sat his arse on silk pillows, likely be gobbling meat. We've no notion he's coming to tear him to shreds.
Way's clear, lads! Adam!
So it would seem that the citizenry came to attack the noble. Probably why the noble had them all killed. Another rot fiend. So it's not just evil noblemen. Not entirely surprising, it generally never is. That was close. Lucky I had a Quen up. I got an insta-kill, which made him immediately explode. Oh, there's another one. They seem to be everywhere over this island. Which, once again, I don't know how rot fiends got here, but... Hey, whatever. I'm outside the actual, the quest area, which makes me think there's probably not going to be much out here. Aha, here's another one.
They left us, look! All of them done went!
We've to swim, come on!
What about all this? I can't leave it! You go, find a boat, and come back for me. If you make it across.
Ha! Why wouldn't I? Be back before you know it.
So it's after they come out, presumably having looted the place? I mean, it's not specific, but... I mean, there's a lot of shit here, isn't there? So presumably, they looted the hell out of this place before leaving. Also, presumably they killed the Lord, because otherwise where would they get the loot? Nevertheless, I'm going to keep looking around for more ghosts. I don't precisely remember how many there are. They may even show up on the map specifically. No, okay, so the ghosts are all around this area, and then actually head to the tower is the other one. I think there's 3 sets of ghosts. I've done 2 on the outside, and I think there's a couple on the inside of the actual area. The bilge hag there. Nope, just a water hag. Simple enough. Gotta keep looking for more ghosts. From memory, I'm doing this all off memory, by the way. It's been a very long time since I've done this quest. But I believe there's like one up on the wall somewhere, which is why I'm sort of looking up here. Oop, there's one.
Millie, we gotta flee. Quick now. Millie! Millie, what's with ye?
I don't know. So burning. Ah!
What? No. No, stay back.
Don't leave me.
Interesting. Kira was talking to the guy about rats. The fact that he was experimenting with rats, which is interesting. It implies certain things, not least of which that they may have been experimenting with plague. So whether or not that was sickness or some kind of magical curse, hard to tell. There was apparently a sorcerer here. Could have been some kind of magical illness. I believe there's actually a few in the tower as well. I already know a fair amount. I feel relatively safe in going into the tower. First things first, though, I'm actually going to meditate. The reason being is because my decoction was about to wear off, and if my decoction wears off, I don't have enough carrying capacity. Apologies if I forget to cut that out of the video. I just had to sneeze. So let's head into the tower for now. I think I've found most of the ghosts, if not all of them. Some rats.
Where's that noble? Lying here, quiet as a mouse, head split open like a rotted pumpkin. More like a peasant now, sloshing around in his own blood and shite. Be nothing noble about him. Too quick a death they gave him. Should have been made to suffer. He's not the end of it. Sons can suffer for it, and a daughter. To the top!
That's fucking evil. Sins of the father. Not something I'm a particular fan of.
The place is full of rats. As many dead as alive. Think they're feeding on...
Geralt, stop. You needn't be so detailed.
I guess Kira doesn't particularly...
Peasants didn't come here to ask nicely.
It is interesting, though, that they were talking about the fact that they thought that he died far too quickly. It would imply that they have some kind of... I don't know, vendetta? Green flame is intriguing. I just accidentally got that rat on my side. The fact there's a fire burning in here at all is interesting, but the fact it's a green flame is slightly more interesting. as is that. Cages. Lots of cages. Once again, I'm gonna start... I'm gonna stop looting as much.
Blood. Many must have died here.
Indeed.
Rich folk. Doubt I'll ever understand them. Keeping rats in cages like rabbits.
Let him out, maybe? Like to die of hunger if we leave him there.
Not a good idea. It's a lot of
I'd
cages.
sooner burn the vermin. Releasing him's not like to bring no good. Imagine the harm they'd do if they swam back to the village.
Swam? Rats? How do you figure they'd do that?
You needn't fret for him. Clever little bastards. Clever than you.
They seem sluggish to you. Got the mange, maybe? Oh, and that stench!
That would imply to me... also, it's quite dark in here, I apologize for that. Luckily, some mysterious entity seems to be lighting lights for me, which is helpful. The amount of cages they have here would imply to me that there's, experimentation going on. And, as you said, they're acting sluggish, which is odd. That's locked. That door closed behind me, which is creepy.
Don't start, Annabelle. Back to your craft. Always bending my ear about fool peasants. I'll not hear of them again. That simpleton turned your head, but one Graham hardly makes the rest courtly, one and all.
My lord, peasants. They're through the door in the tower.
That Graham. So it implies there was one peasant at least who was, she fell in love with, presumably. And an interesting way that the father put it there too. He was saying one Graham does not make them all courtly. So he obviously at least somewhat approved of him as far as... approved of him as much as a noble is likely to approve of a peasant for his daughter, which is honestly not much, probably.
Gold! Piles of it! Oh, won't do the dead any good now, will it? Strange it's still here. The noble died a time ago.
Interesting.
Who's that? Show yourself. Anyone there? Who are you?
Interesting. So this was a looter that came in later and seemingly ended up being murdered by someone or something. Also, banging and crashing. Got a balcony out here. Oh, that's from the light inside. It's just shining through the wall somehow. And finally, we can go up to the top level. So kind of whatever's... I mean, clearly a ghost is lighting these lamps for us, which is kind of useful, I guess. It allows me to see slightly better.
Where are you? Have you got to the laboratory at the top of the tower yet?
I'm at the top. Nothing here that looks like a laboratory.
Then you've not reached the highest level. Look for a passage.
Pretty obvious with Witcher senses.
Someone dragged something across the floor. Or dragged it from one wall to the other, repeatedly.
Good old secret passage. I can hear a woman crying.
Looks like a laboratory. Pretty well equipped, too.
I'm waiting here because we got a note. The Mage Alexander's Log Part 2, Day 346. I never did like rats. Not because of their obscene tales, but rather on account of their lively, disturbing intelligence. They're always listening when a man believes he is talking only to himself. And, what's worse, they seem to understand. A few days ago I caught myself talking to one of them. To a particularly large black male with a turned-off ear. At first I was overcome by panic. Was this the first manifestations of the illness? Of course, that was impossible, for I had fortified my immunity with powerful spells. Upon further consideration, I concluded it was an altogether natural reflex. One even the most learned among us find hard to restrain. We mages like to be listened to. I placed the black rat in a separate cage. The time will come for it to play a part in the tests. Meanwhile, it can keep me company. And observe. I've noticed it looks with great concentration at the cages of its infected brethren, particularly those in the last stages of illness. Fascinating. Speaking of company, I have none, besides the black rat, and cannot hope for better. Professor Rat avoids the laboratory, and has expressed his desire for his daughter to steer clear of me as well. At first I thought he feared a moral scandal, which would be risible in the extreme, but he explained the true reason in due course. It seems Annabelle has always possessed a fragile psychic constitution. Observing the ill might throw her into a foul humours. The peasants taking part in the study have stopped speaking to me. I don't know what they believe this little act of defiance will serve. It does me no harm. They made for lousy conversation partners. There remains, of course, the woman, but as for her, I try to limit my contact. Day 362. My black rat has died. Today I found him curled up in his cage. I suspected he may have become infected on accident, but during the autopsy I did not uncover any signs of the illness. He was also perfectly well fed. Strange. From a medical point of view, his death remains unexplained, something which, I must admit, irritates the scholar in me. But, as mentioned previously, I'm not particularly fond of rats. Interesting. The peasants taking part in the study have stopped speaking to me. They didn't sound like they were taking part in the study willingly, does it? Ugh.
Experimenting on humans. Never would have gotten away with it if the Conclave were still in charge.
Mm-hmm. And his first part of his log. Day 237, apologies for the crying woman. My experiments continue to return results I must consider unreliable. Methodological errors are not at fault. The problem lies in the shoddy and fallible research material I'm forced to work with. Despite his prior assurance, Professor Rat is unable to provide me with enough moderate, healthy specimens for my tests. Most of the material is starved and terrified, having been dragged here straight from the dungeon. I wasted a great deal of time daily washing and delousing them before I will so much as let them step foot in my laboratory. Sterility first. As Marty Sodergren managed to prove in her little-known work, the attitude of a patient undergoing treatment can have a significant impact on the battle against the disease. Unfortunately, the volunteers with which I am supplied, do not show sufficient comprehension, let alone enthusiasm, for the noble work in which they are taking part. In fact, it seems they consider the research part of their punishment. I have tried a few times, though I am but a poor speaker, to convince them that they are contributing to the eradication of one of the greatest plagues tormenting mankind. I had the distinct impression they understood little, but perhaps their stupor was merely the result of the early stages of the illness. Of course, it is impossible to achieve success without significant sacrifices. The overwhelming majority of them will have to lay down their trifling lives on the altar of learning, but that is the sacrifice I am willing to make. Some of you may die, but that is a sacrifice I am willing to make. The potion vial there. I'm going to do a quick save here. Hello, Annabelle.
Why did you leave? You claimed to love me. I'm cold. Why has no one come for me? I cannot leave this place. I see no way out. Who are you? Do you seek to hurt me as well?
I'm a Witcher. I want to lift the curse that grips this island. Your turn to tell me who you are. The other ghosts, they couldn't see me.
I'm special. Always was. The rare beauty. The Lord's daughter. These lands, as far as the eye can see, were ours. My family and I, we hid in the Mage's Tower to await the war's end, the end of hard times. It was not to be forever.
Mage who lived here. Who was he?
Alexander? I hardly knew him. He spent most of his time locked away in this tower. He's dead too, you know. They're all dead. Mountains of corpses, yet I stand here alone, all alone. They've all abandoned me. Even he who promised me everlasting love. You will abandon me as well.
If I can lift the curse, you yourself will be free to leave. Tell me what happened here. Peasants sailed to the island to ask for food. Is that true?
No. They came to rob and kill. They thought us rich, believed we'd stowed ourselves away here to laugh at their misery. Yet we had little food as well. Too little to share with those who came. They slaughtered everyone. I heard my father cry out, but the mage told me not to reveal myself or let anyone in. He gave me a potion. If I was discovered, I was to drink it. He said everything would be all right.
It's interesting here. This is a man who was the mage I'm talking about, Alexander. He was a man who had no qualms experimenting on humans. He saw them as little more than test subjects, but when it came to the girl who was likely going to be raped and murdered, he attempted to protect her by locking her in this part of the tower, and presumably went down to face the people attacking, and lost his life because of it. And he gave her a potion as a way out. I think it's interesting. He certainly wasn't a good man, but I don't think he was as evil as you first kind of think of him when you look at him as he was experimenting on these humans. As he wrote in his notes, I don't understand why they don't get that they're helping to stop the worst plague ever. He was evil, but he was... It was evil of ignorance more so than evil of malice. It's an interesting distinction, but I think one that's definitely there.
What happened then?
Fear. Terrible fear. I feared the men who approached, but I also feared the potion, drinking it.
Didn't trust the mage?
In the village, they claimed he meddled in disease. Not curing it, but causing it. They said he lured rats into the tower, infected them with the Catriona. Only rumors, surely, but I was afraid. So horribly afraid. And then I heard him. My beloved Graham. He called to me. I opened the door for him, but others rushed in. They lunged at me and...
Your beloved failed to save you. Why?
There were too many. Leave her be, he shouted. He grabbed at them, tried to stop them. They just laughed.
Did they hurt you?
They gripped my arms, tore at my dress. I managed to free myself and drink the potion, and then... nothing.
Poisoned? That how you died?
No, for I later awoke. I was alone, it was dark. Only there were rats. everywhere. Dozens. Hundreds.
Jesus.
And I couldn't move.
Sleeping potion. Effects hadn't worn off yet. You were paralyzed.
They were everywhere. All over me like insects. My face, my hands. I felt them rip open my skin, then crawl into my stomach. They tore me apart, and I could not even scream. Have I not suffered enough? Why can't I leave this place?
So he wasn't even giving her like a euthanizing potion as a way out. He was giving her something that would simulate death so that they'd leave her alone. But he didn't foresee the fact they'd let the rats out of the cage. Can you talk to the other souls?
Can you talk to the
Would you want to, even if you could?
No, I'm alone here. The others, they flee when they see me. I know not why. You do not fear me, do you?
No. Used to dealing with ghosts. Though, gotta admit, there's something about you. You're different.
There was a fresh corpse in the tower, indeed.
You weren't the last to die on this island. Found a fresh corpse in the tower.
The island's a dangerous place. Folks should not venture here. I too wish to leave.
The dead man. Looked like a monster had attacked him, recently. The tower home to anything else?
How am I to know? There's lots of wraiths here. I hear them whispering every night.
Not talking about ghosts. A monster who hunts here. You must have noticed something.
I don't know. I've noticed naught. Why do you ask? Why must you press me so? You're to be my savior, not my tormentor.
Interesting.
How can I help you?
A curse born of hatred binds me to this place. Only love's power can hope to lift it. But who could love a wraith?
And your beloved, he dead too?
Graham? No, he lives. I would know if he died. But he fled and abandoned me. Left me here all alone.
Maybe you could strip the curse of its power by forgiving him. You might cleanse the Isle. Your beloved, who is he? A noble son?
No, a poor fisherman. My father objected, strongly. He did not see us together. I miss him so. Each night I walk to the island shore to gaze upon the village. Does he remember me still?
Said before
Yeah.
you can't leave the tower.
Did I? You must have misheard.
I didn't miss Ada.
I don't think so.
I don't know anymore. It's all a nightmare to me.
As I see it, you're the curse's focus. The other ghosts on the island, their auras aren't nearly as strong as yours. My medallion started pulsating as soon as we started talking.
I don't know what you mean, but you do seem to know some things. You could be right. My fate is tied to the Isle, I feel that. Perhaps because I am heiress of these lands.
It could be your blood ties to the land, the base of the curse, that is. If so, forgiving Graham, laying your resentment to rest should lift it.
I loved him. I'm prepared to forgive him. But I must know that he regrets what he did. Take my bones to him. He must bury them. This will be our farewell. Will you speak to him? Will you do this for me?
Not sure I trust you.
Really sad story, but something's not right. Got a feeling.
What is it?
You're not telling me everything. You know the island's dangerous, but refuse to tell me about the monster that lives here.
There is no monster.
I think you're lying. Question is, why? To protect the beast? Or is it that...
Stop! I will not hear this!
I can't help you. Taking anything off this cursed island, from any cursed place, just too dangerous. And a dead woman's bones, that's asking for trouble.
They said witches are heartless beasts. Will you bring Graham here then? I so long to say goodbye.
Annabelle, listen.
You never wished to help me, and here I have someone would finally take pity on me. Such a big woman that I am.
Oh, I'm sorry, Annabelle.
Damn it, gotta catch them.
Fucking rats. Can't go through the door until I kill the rats. Oh, goddamn. Seems rats are really next to impossible to kill. This is ridiculous, by the way. Jesus. She ran away, by the way. I can follow the Plague Maiden. Can I head upstairs first, though? That's my question. Looks like yes. She can't leave the island, so I'm not...
Kept in there until the end. What a shitty way to die.
Peasants. Indeed, a shitty way to die. I agree, Geralt. But the Plague, as I said, the Plague Maiden can't actually leave the island, so I'm less worried about letting her ostensibly run away. Because, I mean, the reality of the situation is I can catch up, and she can't go anywhere that's not on the island. So... not much of an issue. Down here. And out the front door.
Cannot kill me. You know this. What was that? It sounded for a moment like you joined the Wraiths yourself.
Had to fight a pester.
A pester? And did you learn how to lift the curse before you lunged at her, sword in hand?
Yeah, we talked a bit. Looks like I need to get her beloved to the island. Fisherman named Graham.
I know the man. He lives in Oriton, village on the lakeshore. Find him immediately. We're close to unraveling this. I can feel it.
Fantastic. We're gonna go talk to Graham about Annabelle. There was inconsistencies in her story there. As Geralt rightly pointed out, she said she couldn't leave the tower, and then she said she went to the shore every day to look at the town of Oriton. Also, she was a pester, which she lied about. She obviously killed that man. We're not going to read about those quite yet. Do I not have Pester? I guess I don't have Pester yet until I kill her. That would make sense. But I believe a Pester is a penitent that that then has control over plague. We're sitting at 40 minutes, so I think that's probably going to be the end of this episode. Although I do kind of want to finish the quest off, so you know what? Fuck it, let's finish the quest off. We only have to go to Oriton, which is quite close. Shouldn't take me too long to actually finish this quest off. I should be able to do it within 20 minutes at least, which takes us to an hour-long episode, which is long, but I don't think so long that it's the end of the world. And it's like a main story quest. I don't mind going a bit longer for a main story quest. Interesting, he now kind of lives on the outskirts of town. I wonder whether he lived on the outskirts always.
I don't want to see no one. Just leave me be.
Why have you been following me?
Just wondering what you want from him. From Graham.
Me? Didn't want nothing. It's his mother be worried about him. Been locked in his hut since he came back from the Isle. Talks to no soul. Love's misery curdled his brains, I reckon.
Interesting.
I want to talk.
You're deaf, damn it! I told you. Who are you?
I've been to the island. I know what happened there.
What do you want of me?
Want to talk to you about Annabelle.
Annabelle? What can you know about her?
I met her. Talked to her.
Annabelle's dead. Drank poison. And I couldn't save her.
Did you love her?
Something mad. Loved her so deep I believed we'd come through, believed we'd be together. Of course, it was not to her father's liking. His daughter and a plain lout.
As I mentioned, in the kind of flashback we go to the ghost of her father, he did kind of say... I mean, he was disapproving, but he didn't seem to be outright dismissive, if that makes any sense.
What happened on Fyke Isle? You gotta tell me.
'Twere Millie, Finch and Faulkner. They rallied the men, all roughs, to go to the Isle, take back what was ours from the noble. They knew I was known at the tower, that the Lord's servants would open the gate for me soon as I sold them fish.
They forced you to go with them?
No, I saw my chance in it, for Annabelle and me to flee. But it all spun in a chaos. Our boys from the village, they started killing everyone. Annabelle, they wanted to rape. 'Twas then she drank the poison. Mage must have gave it her. I ran out the tower hollering that I wanted to die, cursing them all to hell. Don't force me to speak of it. No more, please.
You may have cursed the island.
Said you were hollering as you fled the tower, the island. What exactly did you say?
I don't remember. I wanted them to pay for what they'd done to her.
Might have cursed them. There's a powerful magic aura on Fyke Isle. Passions, evil intent, strong emotions of any kind can activate it. Your words could be the curse's source.
She took the poison because of them.
It wasn't poison. Annabelle drank a strong sleeping potion. Mage wanted to protect her, make it look like she was dead. Convinced everyone.
But that means... is she... You said you spoke to her?
Spoke to her ghost. By the time she awoke, tower was full of cold corpses. And rats. She was warm meat. Rats ate her alive.
You mean... she was alive the whole time? But... can't be. She was cold all through like a corpse. I shook her, begged her, open your eyes. I never thought...
It's not your fault. No guilt in not knowing, and you couldn't know it wasn't poison she drank.
Gods, what have I done? If I had stayed behind to bury her, I didn't notice she was alive. It might have ended different, ended well.
If you'd stayed on the island, I doubt you'd have survived.
I'd take death over leaving her to the rats like that. But there's naught I can do about it now.
Wrong on that count. Annabelle needs you. You can help her.
She's still there. In the tower. Can I see her?
Yeah. One thing you should know, though. In death, Annabelle turned into a pesta.
A pester? What's that?
More than a restless ghost. A plague maiden. A powerful wraith filled with grief and hatred that drive her. Give her the power to sow disease and death.
She suffers. How am I to help her? Gods know I'm willing.
Annabelle thinks you abandoned her.
God! She hates me. And all this time she's thought I abandoned her.
Yes, go to the tower, talk to her. Maybe you can convince her that's not how it was.
I thought she died. I'd never left her there otherwise.
A curse has imprisoned Annabelle and the other spirits on the island. Love can shatter its power, free her and them.
Just as in the legends.
If you know the legends, you know one kiss is enough to break an evil spell. On one condition. That it's a kiss from someone whose love is true.
I told you. I said I love her with all my heart. Take me to her, please.
It's dangerous. There are risks involved. Understand that, don't you?
Of course. I'm no coward. I'll not run this time.
Nothing. Let's go.
I'm ready.
Brave man.
Let's go to the tower.
I mean, we're at the tower. You mean you want to go up the tower? Well, shit.
I've waited long enough for revenge. And now he comes to us unsaid.
Last I came through here, I still hoped Annabelle and me weren't impossible. We could have been together, and now she's dead. And it's my fault. If only I'd been able to protect her.
Can't change the past, but you can still help Annabelle to move on, to rest in peace.
It's terrifying here. It's too quiet.
Chop, chop. Speed up. Let's get this over with.
I remember the screams. Inhuman they were. Now it's silent. They're dead. All dead.
Don't think about that. Keep walking.
I feel so sorry for this guy. He really did nothing wrong, and he's just... Well, he did stuff wrong, I suppose, but he did nothing that was... Everything he did was entirely understandable given the circumstances. I'm walking, by the way, just so I can get dialogue if he has any more. I don't think he does.
You have not forgotten. You've returned for me.
Is that?
Don't you recognize me? It's me, Annabelle. The one you abandoned, remember?
I was sure you was dead. If I'd known otherwise, I should never have left you. I'd do anything for you. I would. You know that well. Believe me, I beg you.
Prove it. Kiss me.
Graham, careful.
At last.
She spreads disease of all description.
The curse is lifted, and Graham and Annabelle are reunited.
It's a tragic story, with a tragic end. I feel like that's the better ending of the two. You can take her bones down and give them to Graham. And I believe she ends up killing Graham, just like she does here. The only difference being you allow a plague maiden free, which is never a good idea. But it's a tragic story. All born from a classist system, for starters. The people in the peasantry believing that the nobles had far more than they really did. The fact that the nobles did have more than the nobles had more than the peasants, but not so much more that the peasants seem to believe. It's a very tragic story, and there is something slightly comical about the pester sort of like wrapping a ridiculously long tongue around his arm and things, but it's just... I think the power of that scene overwhelms the comedy factor for me. That's not what I wanted. I believe... Is Pester now here? Plague Maidens. There we go. Patients seem to have hallucinations of a woman covered in scabs and boils, with rats scurrying about all around her. These ravings subsided after an administration of henbane and poppy extract. Joachim von Gratz notes, interesting, we know Joachim. Marius Hospital in Novigrad. He was the one who helped me hunt down a vampire, and also did surgery on, or at the very least treated, Dandelion's girl, what's her name? Am I insane? Calinetta is her stage name. You know what? Priscilla. I remembered it before I actually had to get there. Priscilla. I don't know why I couldn't remember that. But Joachim actually helped Priscilla when she got her throat attacked. When plague ravages a region, a spirit will sometimes walk its lands, a ghost resembling an ill woman whose flesh rots off her bones, and in whose wake crawls a cavalcade of rats. No one knows whether this spirit brings the pox with her, or is merely drawn to it like a moth to a light. Yet it is certain that she delights in dealing pain and suffering, in hearing the howling and moaning of men. Many have called into question the very existence of plague maidens, or peste as they are sometimes called. Only 2 sightings of such creatures have ever been recorded, both during times of raging epidemic. As the name Plague Maiden suggests, these wraiths take the appearance of females, though exactly why that is remains a mystery. Some speculate that, like other such spectres, arise from a powerful emotional charge associated with a certain circumstances of death, such as death preceded by a long and particularly painful illness. Or being eaten alive by rats, perhaps. Not much is known about how to fight a Plague Maiden, though one can assume they possess many traits in common with other phantoms and wraiths. They undoubtedly pose a great danger, though a witch's immunities should at least prevent him from catching the contagious illnesses they carry. Indeed. Spectre Oil and Erden both work. Not entirely surprising. I may as well read the other ones we have here while I'm here. Sylvans. We got off that previous... the fake god, as it were. Sylvans are cruel, greedy, and treacherous. Still, I prefer them to Dwan. Yevon, legendary Scroll's Hill commander. Dwan is the elven of a human, by the way. Sylvans and Yakshas are kindred spirits. Are extremely rare woodland creatures whose appearance combines traits of goats and rotund men. These beings usually pose little danger, for they limit their contact with humans to playing harmless, although quite bothersome, tricks and eating crops from their fields. As I said, the one that we spoke to wasn't really doing... He was pretending to be a god, but he was giving them advice and little magical blessings every now and then. And we got from books, we learnt about berserkers and botchlings. Now finish your soup, or a berserker will come and swallow your whole. Skellige mother scolding a child. Skellige legends speak of men known as berserkers who transform into bears when overwhelmed by battle rage. In doing so, they lose all self-awareness and are driven by a bloodlust, which they must satiate in order to return to human form. If you believe these blood-curdling tales, however, not even in Skellige, where the inhabitants usually treat even the least probable legends with the utmost gravity. This indicates either that berserkers are in fact mere figments of mead-sodden imaginations, or else they have learned to hide their abilities from the rest of the islanders. The Skald's ballads indicate a berserker transformed in the heat of battle cannot be distinguished from a true-born bear. Only minute anatomical details, such as the shape of their tongue and teeth, reveal their secret. Descriptions of their fighting prowess paint them as invulnerable to pain and able to heal any wound received almost at once. If these men-turned-bears truly do exist, one can suppose that, like werewolves and lycanthropes, they are particularly vulnerable to oils that harm cursed creatures. But if they are to be given credence to ancient songs about these creatures' deeds, about the mass murders and massacres they have committed, we can only hope that no Witcher will have to test this hypothesis. And we have botchlings. Tasty. Can't say it's a lie, but it doesn't exactly convey the whole truth either. Lambert. Here we go. Saying a botchling's ugly is like saying shit's not particularly tasty. You can't say it's a lie, but it doesn't exactly convey the whole truth either. Lambert, Witcher of the Wolf School. Botchlings are perhaps the most repulsive creatures a Witcher will ever have the displeasure of meeting. Born of dead, unwanted babies, discarded without a proper burial. Their appearance is that of partially decaying fetus, their unformed flesh twisted with hate, fear, and malice. These hideous creatures feed on the blood of pregnant women, driven by a mad hunger that most often leads to the victim's death. A botchling will emerge from its lair at night to lurk by the bedside of an expectant mother, draining her strength and that of her unborn progeny as she sleeps. A woman thus beleaguered first suffers from troubling dreams, then fever, delirium, and a general weakening of the flesh. After a few such nights, she is enfeebled and unable to defend herself. It is then the botchling attacks directly, sinking its long, sharp fangs into her body and drinking of her blood until mother and fetus perish together. A botchling stands around 1.5 feet in height, but when threatened, and if gorged with blood, it can change form. At such times it grows into a deformed man, hunched over and striding ape-like on its forearms. Stronger and fiercer, after this alteration, it hurls itself into direct physical combat, gnashing at its opponents or attacking them with sharp claws. A botchling's curse can be lifted by transforming it into a lubberkin, a guardian spirit of the hearth that watches over the family it never knew in the house it never came, in the house it never could call home. Interesting. But with that, it's going to be the end of the episode. So if you like this video, please leave a like. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. And as always, thanks for watching, and I shall see you next time, where we're going to return to Kira and actually finish this quest off. There's a little quest afterwards that we'll do as well next episode, but we'll get into that next episode. But as I said, if you like the video, all that kind of stuff, and I shall see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys.